Hello, everybody, and welcome to the United Stand. It's a fan forum again. We're back with the gang. Mark is covering the Champions League over at 8 o'clock, so make sure you check that out. But for now, we are here talking all things Manchester United, all things Ten Hag, and we've got some interesting quotes to get into. But first of all, I'll introduce you to all of my guests. Adam, how are you today?
Yeah, fine. Just finished my run now. Perfect timing for the fan forum. Ready to put my feet up and let's talk some more football because we haven't talked enough this week, have we?
Kev, how are you? Busy day? Busy day at work?
Very well, thank you. Hope everyone's all right. And everybody watching this in the live comments, back by unpopular demand. Second show in a row. Let's do this, man.
Kev, we never get bored of you. And Jay, we've got you back now. We've got you back for the home truths, the harsh opinions, and we're happy to have you back. I'm excited to have you back on the show today. How are you?
Beth, thank you. Just in from work, so literally it was a change from one tight t-shirt to a smart polo shirt just for you.
Oh, exactly. We're making effort for these shows now, guys. Making effort.
Pink. Start with the pink, Beth.
Well, I didn't get the memo, Jay. You need to sell one of them things again when we all wear the same colour, because that worked quite well last time. But anyway, into what this show is actually about, we'll run through loads of different stuff today. Ten Hag is obviously coming to Manchester United now. The finer details are getting made. And on the back of his appointment, we've had a lot of people's different opinions come out. We've had Rio Ferdinand come out and speak about it. But we've also have someone who has worked closely with Erik Ten Hag, and he's worked in the business for a while, in Steve McLaren, coming out and giving his opinions on the appointment and what Ten Hag can bring. And do you know what? It sounds really, really positive. Ten Hag said, published in the papers today, that I have to sit up in these stands and see the patterns of the game, but he could stand on the touchline and see them. He always knew the answer to everything, how to shape, how to change positions. His adjustments in the game, obviously, I had worked with Sir Alex Ferguson, and I used to think that some of his subs and changes were strange, but they always worked. Erik had that in the same respect. So, Adam, we'll come firstly to you. McLaren there is basically comparing Erik Ten Hag's coaching abilities and his management, in-game management, to Sir Alex Ferguson. You think that is probably one of the highest compliments that can be made to a coach. How exciting is that for the players who assumingly didn't want him at first and foremost, but now they've got him, but also the fans that are actually going to see really high level of in-game management, which we've gone without for quite a long time, to be honest with you?
Yeah, out of all the bad press that Steve McLaren gets, Wally and the Brolly and everything like that, he never was the right man for that big job, that big management job. But what that man does have is quality in coaching. He's a very, very good coach, and we can't really deny that. I mean, he was part of the team behind the scenes that won us the famous treble, and Ferguson raved about him himself. What he's saying there about Ten Hag is what the Dutch press are pretty much all saying, in terms of, like, he is pretty much a 70% tracksuit coach style manager. He's not a man. He's not a Ron Atkinson, sit with the feet up, let the coaches do the job, which sort of leads you into the other side of the discussion of who his number two is going to be and what sort of character the number two is going to be. Because, like you said there, and what Steve McLaren said, it is going to be full on. He is going to coach. He's going to be him who's on that training ground, making sure that the players are drilled and know exactly what they're doing. So really, that second in command, that number two coming in, is going to be a different type of character, something different. Someone who is just going to be there to relay their messages. It's not really going to be taking much of the training. The fact that our manager is going to be the coach of this team as well kind of makes you think Pep Guardiola style. You know, in Tuchel last night with his clipboard out in the second period of extra time, he still had a plan with everything going on. These managers still have a plan and can see visions within the game. And that substitute comment that you made there, in terms of what's he doing there, but then all of a sudden, wow, bang, it comes back and slaps you in the face, because the man in the know, the man with the power, gets the substitutes right, dictates how the game goes, and influences the game with tactics and changes that he makes within. So it is high praise. We know what Ten Hag is. We know who he's worked alongside as well, in the likes of Pep Guardiola. He's walked in some good circles in terms of managerial class and abilities out there. So for me, yeah, I can see all of that within him. And for Steve McLaren to come out as well, who is obviously well up on Dutch football. I mean, spent plenty of time there managing himself. He knows what he's all about. And for me, that's exciting news for us because we've got a manager who's coming in with the vision himself. He doesn't need his team to be the ones that are a coaching style. They're just there to support him and his vision. And that's what's important. So for me, him being the tracksuit manager, change of tack for us, it's what we all wanted and all needed. And I'm going all in on that. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what he brings and excited to see what turns out on the pitch from it.
Yeah, 100%. I'm really excited for this. I mean, the quotes that are coming out are very exciting to hear, especially knowing that he is going to be our manager. I mean, Jay, earlier this morning, you tweeted something which I thought was dead on. And this was another quote from McLaren saying, we were starting pre-season training the day after I was appointed. He brought out his folder and there was 6 weeks worth of pre-season training planned in there. Every minute of every day was laid out, from drink sessions to warming down to individual work. It was so detailed. I had not seen anything like it before, and I have not seen anything like it since. This is what we need, isn't it? We need a manager that's going to give everything to getting us back to winning ways, which seems like this guy's got the capabilities to do.
Beth, for me this morning when I read that, I had to screenshot it and tweet it, because for me, as an old school fan, that is a breath of fresh air. Ferguson always used the phrase that fail to prepare to fail. And we've been failing as a club and as a football team for many, many years. So somebody come in with that level of detail, my only reservation of that is, how many of those players shall Ten Hag have to cull to enact that philosophy? And would he be allowed to cull 10, 11 players? I don't think so. You know, can you honestly see us in the off-season doing 10, 11 deals, which is literally 5 or 6 ins, 5 or 6 outs? That's 10, 11 deals. We're notoriously slow to do deals. And obviously, Ten Hag was slow in negotiating because he obviously wants certain clarification on his role, the power that he has. And as I said many times, Radnick didn't have the power or the ability by the board and the Merton hires up to use the power. So I hope and pray that Ten Hag is allowed to yield his power and get rid of, as I've referred to them as, the charlatans. I gave Radnick a lot of praise at the start, saying, Cam Carrington's close of business and all that. Well, I really, really hope now that the Cam Carrington Day Spa, as I referred to this morning, that Ralph is allowed to shut up shop and establish his own military-style boot camp training for those charlatans in the off-season, because that's what's needed. It's a total reset. And I just said that, please, 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 he's allowed to do his job and gets all the backing and support. And as Mark said this morning on his own show, that he's allowed to bring in all his own coaching staff. As far as I'm concerned, from the strength conditioning department right down to scouts, it's a failed club. The club is a busted sofa. And you need to bring in an entire new sofa, big screen TV, put in new floors, the whole lot. We are building a new mansion here, and it's step by step. And no club is going to turn around in 6 to 8 months. And this is a massive undertaking. I think we're talking 3 to 5 years. And I really, really hope that the fans give Ten Hag the time. But we know, we saw Paul Merson, his comments already going in at Ten Hag. So give it maybe, I'd say 8 weeks. The rusty old British pundits are going to go into Ten Hag, the first bad performance, saying he's not suited the Premiership and all this jazz. But we needed somebody to come in that Klopp and Pep will actually sit up and think, okay, oh my God, there's a change here. I got up my game. So obviously I'm delighted he's coming in, but I'm also going to be looking to see what will Liverpool do and what will Chelsea and Man City do now that we are up in our game, because they want to stay leader.
Well, that's the thing, and they call us the negative ones, already getting on Ten Hag's back, and he's not even got into the job yet. I mean, it's crazy to think how different sides of the media see certain different appointments, but all we can do is sit back and hope and look at what the facts are, and the facts are the guy is in the best position to take this job out of any other candidate out there at the moment, in my opinion. And I think the the people that have worked closely with him, I know McLaren has had some stick before, but he has worked closely with him. He's seen it firsthand. I mean, the facts don't lie, and then his preparation seems to hold up well, and hopefully he can put that in place at Old Trafford. Kev, moving on to the fact that in order to make this happen, he's going to needed to be given time. I mean, this summer transfer window is the start, and hopefully he's backed, and I think you will see that. But to me, in January, we don't usually kill the market. We don't usually go in and make the best signings, or if not any. Realistically, it's going to need at least 2 summer transfer windows, in my opinion. Ten Hag, realistically, you're going to need to give him at least 2 years before you start judging the process. Do you think he needs to be given all of the power now? It all needs to be handed over to him now. And do you think that will happen in order to give him the best possible chance? And he's got to keep that power as well for the long run and for the amount of time he's had, because it's all well and good giving him that power over the summer for his transfers and getting players in. But if you don't hold that out and let him continually do that, and if the board get worried about not seeing results straight away and they start to try and step in, which they have done before, that could disrupt the process. So we've really got to put trust in this guy. And do you think that the board will allow this to happen?
I would like to think that Ten Hag is a strong character. And as I said briefly last night, that the hold up on Ten Hag would have been his conditions and him taking this job. And I like that. I think there's been other managers that have taken this job. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer snapped Manchester United's hand literally off to get that job. There was no way he was backing down. And I would never, ever fault him for that. It was Manchester United that appointed him and give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job. He is not going to turn it down. It is his dream job. Now, with Ten Hag, yes, he's going to take a good few transfer windows before he can get the players in. We're fully aware there's a lot of players that are going to leave this summer. He has to be given total control. This will be the 5th manager at Manchester United fifth full-time manager since Sir Alex Ferguson in 2013. We've had 4 interim managers. That's 9 managers since 2013. You know, from my sort of boyhood, obviously there was like Ron Atkinson and that. And then really from all I've ever known was Sir Alex Ferguson. And we will never, ever see the likes of that again. That is the way that football has gone. You know, fans can be fickle at times. And this modern day sort of social media thing of whoever out, it builds. And Manchester United's a massive story. I've listened to it all morning. I've been driving around. I had a long drive. I'm listening to Talk Sport, and I couldn't believe, you wouldn't even know that there was Champions League quarterfinals going on. Everything on Ten Hag, you know, he's not proven, he's this, that, he's going to fail, this group of players. And I'm like, this is Man United, man. We sell papers, we get clicks, and that is what it's all about. You know, if there's a story with Manchester United, it's going to be thrown out there because it gets the interaction. Because we're the biggest club in the world.
Glazers then, mate.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like, there is going to be so much expectation on this manager so quickly. It's going to happen, like you said, most talked about club in the world. There's obviously going to be everyone's eyes on how he progresses in this job. And firstly, coming to you, Adam, with kind of looking at expectations now, it's early days, but trying to look at expectations for his first season in charge, where he's probably going to come under a lot of criticism, rightly or unrightly so. And there's going to be all eyes on him on how he initially starts to improve this team. What would your expectations be for his first year in the job? Would you be happy to just see us kind of going towards something within gaining a style of play, seeing a team that works in a system? Do you think he has to get Champions League football next year in his first year in the role, considering this year, I mean, quite far off it now, but we're kind of in and around it. What are your expectations going into next season? What do you think he has to kind of achieve in his first year?
Well, I've said it all along. I said this fan base needs to reset its expectations and reset its whole attitude towards managers coming in now. We've seen everything. We've had every type of manager and they've all not worked. What you've got to look at is you've got the top 4 managers on the planet in front of him. So take that into consideration. Champions League football, you've got an improving, ever-spending Newcastle coming through. The owners at Aston Villa will spend. We are losing half a squad and half a first team, and he has to rebuild that. So, yeah, a style of play, an identity is the most important thing for me, an identity of how United are going to approach football matches. And that really is what we're looking at. I said all along, I think we said yesterday, if he's in the Europa League, dare it be the Europa Conference, there's a chance there to win a trophy, a small trophy. Do you know what I mean? If he can just get us playing a style of play, there's no reason why we can't pick up a Europa League or a League Cup, an FA Cup or something like that. Top 4 is going to be an ask. You've got to be honest and say, look, what's in front of him is incredibly difficult. We've got some of the best teams on the planet right now in this league with the best managers. He is testing his mettle against the highest members of the table. And if he does manage to get into that Champions League, he'll get manager of the season for me with this squad. That's what I'll say right now. If he gets top 4, he deserves manager of the season with this team and this squad and the pressure that comes with being Manchester United's number 1 and everything that's going on right now. And we know there's an awful lot.
The people that are leaving the club as well.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly. But it's not just that, Beth. It's the whole palaver going on off the pitch, how the club is run, the training facilities, the stadium, everything that everyone knows now. And it's been documented all over the world. Like Kev said, we are number 1 for selling anything in terms of media outlets, papers, columns, clickbait, everything. All eyes on Ten Hag. And you know what? He's got to handle that with a bunch of players that, like what Jay said, aren't fit to wear the shirt. Deal with that and get top 4. Well, he deserves manager of the season. But I think an identity, an improvement in playing style, and something the fans can actually look at and go, I can see what he's doing. It's not just a hit and hope sort of tactic. I reckon, like, was it Kev or Jay said, within 2 years, you've got to look at Ten Hag after, or was it you, Beth, with 2 transfer windows, then with his own team in place, judge him. We all give Ollie time. He had a full, I think Ollie got given on average over 130 million a summer. He had a player bought in every single position. He had a full squad bought for him, and we judged him. He failed. He absolutely failed. Ten Hag needs the 3 years that Ollie got, and then judge him from there, because that's what I think is fair right now after what's happening at this football club. And an identity, a style of play. If you can pick up a trophy, if we are in like the Europa League or Conference, you know what I mean? It's no reason why you can't make them young lads work as well from the youth team. And get some fans travelling down to get Wembley, a good cup run or something like that.
The style of play is the main thing, because as a supporter, and you'll know Adam, obviously Beth as well, you're going to Old Trafford every week, and under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you were literally walking away and you're scratching your head. And when you can't see progression, you don't know where you're going. You're like a driverless car, basically. You don't know what is going on. Now, if you're coming away from Old Trafford at the start of next season under Ten Hag, let's just say United lose the first couple of games, but you're looking at it and going, oh, I can see we're trying to play out from the back. The midfield looks solid, but it just wasn't your day. I can accept getting beat if I can see some kind of progression. There is no doubt that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was given a lot more time because of who he was and because he was a club legend. Whereas with Ten Hag now, as long as we can see progression on that field, he's given time, he's given the tools. There's none of this crap from the club putting out about Harry Maguire, back your leader and all that. Stay away from that football side of thing. Let this man come in. He's qualified to do it. Let him coach these players and let him start building the team. I think Jay said Manchester United, it's kind of rotten to the core, but I'd like to think that this rebuild job is a bit more, there's a bit more damage, more low down, really, structure-wise. We need to start really rebuilding the foundations. That's where we're at the minute.
Well, definitely. It's like Law AFC just put in the chat then. It's a travesty to see how United are run as a club. The problem for United is so many of our players are on massive contracts. I mean, Jay, that is a massive point here. We've seen the amount of players that have been given contracts recently. There's talks of giving Luke Shaw and Rashford contracts before even Ten Hag walks through the door. This guy is prolonging his contract signature probably because he wants to get all these final details sorted. He wants to be able to shift players out of the club. He wants to be able to pick his own players for his squad. I mean, you've seen Thomas Tuchel come in. He spent 100 million on Lukaku. He can't make the first team. I have a feeling if that was Manchester United, he would be forced to play him anyway because of the amount of money spent. How important is it for these expectations to be met that straight away Ten Hag gets full control? And what do you actually think he needs to do first and foremost to put him in best possible stead for the season ahead?
You have a lot there now for me to unpack, Beth. My God.
What a question.
So, what a question. There's so much to unpack there.
Christmas morning for Jay.
It is literally Christmas morning, and I'm 7 again, and I'm getting Sabutio. And that went over about 30,000 people's heads right now. Sabutio did. But I digress. Okay, and you're right what you said about Lukaku. If we had shelled out 90 million for Lukaku, he would be playing week in, week out. And the club's social media department would be in mega drive every Monday morning backing him. And imagine if Lukaku got booed by the fans. Think of the work the media department have to do. That would be horrendous. Next game, then the fans would be, encouraged to cheer poor Lukaku. So there's got to be a complete change in culture. First thing, Adam, you said playing style. I agree. Kevin, you said transfers. I'm going to go along the line of culture. I want in 2 years a group of players that the fan base actually start to care about again. Players that were not coming on here and we're picking holes in their game. Young, up-and-coming players that aren't bought for social media purposes. That's what I want to see. And that's going to take at least 2 years. To your next point about what could he do over that period of time, and the point where Solskjaer was given 3 years, for me, that was 3 years far too long. The fans have got to literally sit down, have kind of almost like a helicopter approach to things right now, and see, right, the club has never been lower than this, apart from when it got relegated back in the 70s. Kevin, you referenced Rod Atkinson. Rod Atkinson was the only man in Manchester that's got a better tan than you. But even in the 80s, when Big Ron was manager, the fans loved the playing squad because that squad of players, your Kevin Moore, your Stapleton, Brian Robson, Gary Bailey, Arthur Abbaston, those players, they played for the fans. They played for the badge. And even though we only won 2 cups, never got within a whisker of winning a title on a big run, you went to Old Trafford, you knew you were going to be entertained. And there was a very clear discernment style of football. So over the next 3 years, if we can literally fall back in love with the team again, see a clearly defined style of football, and give this man the time that he richly deserves to go in and change an entire culture. A phrase that was used about Mourinho, which I did not agree with whatsoever, that Josie was toxic and dressing was toxic. I'm sorry, because the poor little lambs had to do some actual work and play to a clearly defined playing style. Okay, it wasn't attractive, agreed. But let's be fair, guys. We did win a League Cup. We did win a Europa League, and Josie finished second with a crap group of players, which he said, he's quoted, his biggest ever achievement was winning. Was second with that group. He wasn't backed in the market. Solskjaer was backed. So now it's time for the board and the fans to back Ten Hag, to come in, change the culture, have a cull of that squad, and lay down his philosophy over a 3-year minimum period. Because I don't want to be back on here. I'm sure you guys don't either. To be back on here in a year's time, and we are discussing Ten Hag out or any of that crap. I'm not there for that. We're going to back this man to the hilt, and we're going to give him time. And if Ten Hag sees a player in Harry Maguire, who I think is a championship player at best, and he plays Harry Maguire, I'll back him. That's how much I want to back this manager.
Don't know what's going on with my graphics there.
And just on that comment, Jay, we talk about Manchester United managers not being backed. Mourinho was at the stage where he was told he would have to sell to basically bring funds in. And one of them players that he wanted to sell at the time was Martial. Now, we know that there's a lot of United fans out there who absolutely love Anthony Martial, and at the time couldn't believe that Mourinho would try to sell him. I think Spurs might have been interested at the time. What happened? Manchester United said, not a chance that you're selling Anthony Martial. So Mourinho was working with his hands tied behind his back. Mourinho wanted, was it Harry Maguire at the time?
40 million.
Manchester United would not allow that. But yet, a couple of years on or whatever it was, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got the job and wants Harry Maguire, and they pay 80 million for him. That is the madness of Manchester United. If you can even explain to me how that works. But that is some managers getting backed and some managers not getting backed. They cannot interfere with it.
You're spot on, mate. Like, and actually that summer, his primary target was Koulibaly. And then he saw, and it was also, he also that summer, if memory serves, he also wanted Prime Perisic and Milinkovic Savic, which it seems that we are linked with permanently every summer since Mourinho was there 5 years ago. It's Milinkovic Savic, who now, I don't know. I haven't seen the guy play in about a year, so I'd be lying if I knew what he was doing now. I don't know. Someone in the live chat will know. So, yeah, he did want Maguire, but I suppose Mourinho was one of the very few managers, I reckon, that I know now we're being revisionists, that possibly could have made a player out of Maguire and turned him into a defender, possibly. But we'll never know because c'est la vie, that's past. But look, we use Alex Ferguson's phrase that the fated words that he said back in 2013, your job now is back your manager. Everybody watching, that is your job now. Back your manager, guys.
100%. And Mourinho was one of the only managers. Well, I mean, Louis van Gaal came out and has spoken about Manchester United very clearly since his job, but has actually come out and said it how it is about the club. You wouldn't ever get that from Ole due to his respect towards the club. I think Ralph is quite a respectful, reserved character, clearly, but he's clearly been completely suppressed in his role. I mean, it's obvious for us to see. So we just hope that Ten Hag gets the backing from the board as well, and he's allowed to do what he has to do. Because, I mean, I think the one change that we can see is that the board have actually appointed Ten Hag, which is not someone they would have done in the past. So hopefully we're going in the right direction. And by the right direction, we need to trust his process with the signings this summer and put some investment into him and invest into the signings, his own players that he can take forward into the new season to get him started in the job. But not only signings is important, it's outgoings. What players can Ten Hag work with that we've already got? I mean, Adam, we've got Donny van der Beek, who he's worked with before on loan. We've got Anthony Martial, who's having quite a poor loan spell at Sevilla, and Sevilla fans are kind of catching on to the same tune that Manchester United fans were singing about him not working hard enough on the pitch. Anthony Martial, Donny van der Beek, two players that promising talents for Manchester United. Donny's not really been able to see the first team. Anthony Martial, I would say, has seen it too much, and it's time for him to leave. Do you think Ten Hag can revive either careers?
Well, he's done it with a few players at Ajax. Whether or not he can do it on the Old Trafford turf is a different ballgame altogether. Like I said, with the pressure of that Manchester United #1 spot, it isn't the same anywhere else in the world. I don't think it really isn't. Donny van der Beek and Martial have just joined the club of Manchester United loanees that fail. It's just, I mean, Donny van der Beek's been unlucky with injuries. I think Martial picked up an injury at one point at Sevilla as well. But you know what? The grass is never greener on the other side, you would say, for footballers. And I don't know one. I mean, there's been many loanees that have really hit it off going from United. And you know what? Half the time you would say, well, because they probably had to go and do a shift at the other club and they don't like it. They want to come back to Comfort Zone FC, Manchester United. Well, they're not coming back to Comfort Zone anymore. They're coming back and they're going to have to graft even more, which is what is exciting. Donny van der Beek would be the one I would pick out of them two. Just for example, Martial and Donny van der Beek. I do believe that he would be the one that you would think automatically understands the vision of Ten Hag. Obviously, working with him before, had his best season of his career under Ten Hag at Ajax. So 2 years of a wasted career. Can he rekindle that? Can he get into the mindset and boost Donny van der Beek back up again? Question is, though, Donny van der Beek was the man for that position at Ajax. Who is going to be in the way of Donny van der Beek at Manchester United? And will Ten Hag look at the rest of the squad and say, I've got better options there? or will he want to bring someone in to suit the rest of the squad that we've got? Honestly, it's hard to say. It depends who comes in. I do like the look of Donny van der Beek coming back into Manchester United and giving a chance properly. And then you look at the rest of the loanees that are coming back as well. Like I said, we've said before, there's a lot to sift through and a lot to sort out in terms of, are some of the young lads ready to step up? You've got Pereira coming back. You've got Garner coming back. Obviously, Ahmad, Palestre. There's plenty coming back and there's plenty to pick from. But that goes back to that first question at the start of the show, Beth, as well. It's like he has all that to deal with. It's too much to expect big results straight away. Is a lot to sift through and sort out, and which is why you said before it is vital the rest of his team comes in and backs him, because he's going to need help with this squad. We all know it. Martial, I don't know. If you asked Ricky, he would say, perfect, play him every single day, 90 minutes every single week, and it would work for United. But we know it doesn't quite work that way. The biggest issue you've got, though, is the likes of the players that are there already, Beth, for me. The likes of Rashford and turning that around. If you had Rashford and Martial right now, I'd probably say I'd be more confident you get a game out of Martial and Rashford. That's how I would say at this moment in time right now. And I know Rashford has got something, but if you were saying now, my biggest concern would be Rashford, honestly. And everyone knows I like Rashford, but watching that guy play, I think I would get more out of Martial right now. And he's got to decide which ones. But I would say Donny probably has the best chance, Beth, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I'm excited for Donny to come into this team and excited for him to possibly get a chance. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say he's not cut out for the Premier League, but Erik ten Hag's coached this guy when he was at his best. He's the one that made him a target for Real Madrid, made him a target for Manchester United. So it's going to be interesting to see how things play out. Talking about getting a tune out of Rashford and over Martial, that's an argument that I've had with many people before. I've rated both of these players a lot. Previously at their time at Manchester United. I mean, remember when we had prime Rashford, prime Martial working together? They were meant to be the future of Manchester United, and both of them seem to have massively tailed off and underachieved what they should have done in the years passing that. And you're looking at Rashford, Kev, and you think this guy has been inconsistent for a while now. We know his capabilities. He's had great times at Manchester United, but he's not been able to do it consistently. He's always had limited aspects to his game. Do you think a manager like Ten Hag can come in and make Rashford the player that we all thought he could be? Do you think Rashford has the potential to go up? Or do you see a player that has always been limited and has kind of reached possibly the tops of his game in certain moments for Manchester United so far already?
It's a mixture of more or less everything that you've just said. A manager like Ten Hag has got a proven track record of improving players. So he'll certainly come in and look at Rashford. If I was a manager, I'd look at Rashford as something to actually work with. There is no doubt there is something there with Marcus Rashford. The one criticism I've always had of him and the kind of torture hell for Rashford was his final decision process. I felt he just got it wrong every single time. Knowing when to shoot, knowing when to cross, knowing when to pass. And he seems to just muddle them all up. I think there was the game against, was it Atletico Madrid this season, which just summed up Rashford from, what was it, about 40 yards out and just decides to shoot. When you're thinking, just keep the ball. We're under pressure. You know, even if it goes left and right, just get a foothold in the game and then boom, you know, that kind of, and you're like, you know, the ball's come down with snow on it in the car park or whatever, it's gone that far. And you're like, he just needs to work out the final thought process, Rashford. But I thought he would have got that by now. It's something that drove United fans mad with a certain Mr. Cristiano Ronaldo at a younger age. I remember being there, too many tricks, not knowing when to cross it, shooting at the wrong time. And then one day, it just all clicked. And the game for Ronaldo just seemed so effortless because he knew exactly what to do. And he made football look easy, knowing when to pass the ball, knowing when to shoot, and it all come together. Now, I did think Rashford would get that, but he hasn't at the minute. And for whatever reason it is, whether he wants to move on or what, I would like to think he would stay, fight for his team under the new manager, but we have heard rumblings within the camp that some of these players are split on Ten Hag, and I don't think that's paper talk. I think that is 100% true at this moment in time, and it wouldn't surprise me if Rashford is one of them. I really don't.
Can you teach decision making, Jay? Can you teach that? Something that Rashford's come under criticism for a lot before. Can you teach?
I don't believe he can. I think Adam hit the nail on the head there when he said, on current production and current form, and bear in mind Martial has been dog shit all last year and this season. He's not exactly putting up trees in Seville that Adam would pick him over Rashford. Rashford is in grave danger for me of becoming Danny Welbeck the sequel, just with a bit of charity work on the side to feed some kids. That's what he's in danger of becoming. And to take Kevin's point, Ten Hag will come in and he'll sum up Rashford very fast in pre-season. But it goes back to the point that we've always said. Will Ten Hag be allowed to sell a Rashford, a Martial, a Harry Maguire, or players that he deems will not fit his system and will never function as a cog in his wheel? And I think the way Ten Hag plays football, it's not about the stars. You're a cog in a wheel. And that's the way he plays. So someone like Rashford, decision-making, Beth, to your question, if he hasn't got it by now, Beth, he's not going to have it. He's extremely frustrating to watch. Martial, to his credit, he will play the simple ball. Decision-making, infinitely better. And on his day, he does produce work rate. So maybe Ten Hag can get a player with a Martial, but I don't think he'll get it from Rashford. I think Rashford's ego now is so big that he honestly believes he's better than he is because his entourage has him believing that he already has it made. So an ideal world, Rashford would be sold, but that's just me.
Well, in comparison, I've just mentioned Cristiano Ronaldo and Marcus Rashford, just trying to compare them and where they were. At the same age that Rashford is now, Ronaldo left for Real Madrid. You know, the rest is history. Look at what Cristiano Ronaldo did. So I think you're dead right there. I think there is a lot of these players at Manchester United that are simply built up media, whether it's social media, whatever it is, and they do believe their own hype. They think they have made it before, you know, it's more or less running before you can walk kind of thing. They actually think they've made it. That far too much is handed to them on a plate, massive contracts and that. They don't really earn them like they used to.
Well, Christian,
sorry, but that there, it's like a system manager. Jay nailed it in terms of the cog. These players have been running around as individuals trying to boost their own social accounts on the pitch. In Manchester United are happy to put out a tweet or an Instagram reel of Marcus Rashford doing keepy-ups on the pitch and big it up. Whereas other teams and other big clubs are talking about the trophies and the cup runs that they're on and how many trophies are left in a season. That's the difference right now. Ten Hag's coming in. Donny van der Beek plays well in a system style manager like Ten Hag. That's why Donny van der Beek will do well. Rashford's never seen that. A lot of these players that have come through, I'm talking McTominay, talking all of the youth system players, they've never seen a system well putting that Man United shirt on. They're about to get the biggest slap in the face ever because they have to think for other players rather than just themselves. And this is where you're going to see the shit fall out, basically, of this squad, because they're not going to be able to cope with what he's going to ask. And like Jay said, this pre-season, you're going to find a lot of upset United players, and every United fan will be at the end of that Carrington drive laughing at them as they drive out, saying, "Not good enough, mate. Thanks for your time. See you later." They're not going to care two tosses about what they moan about and what they've been upset with.
Well, that's the thing. It's like you mentioned Cristiano and Rashford there. Cristiano going off to Real Madrid and them having similar issues in the early parts of the career. The difference is Cristiano had a world-class manager there to help him. He also had the biggest leaders in football as part of his squad that wouldn't let up on him. It was a different type of environment then. And now I do think it is too soft a lot of the times in footballing situations. And unfortunately, you're not going to see the best out of players anymore, because sometimes you do need pushing and you need criticism to improve. And unfortunately, I don't know if the same happens nowadays as it did back then, but they're going to have a shock when Ten Hag comes in, and you are going to get that criticism, because
I'll tell you the biggest shock, one that I heard today, and I love the sound of Jaap Stam, part of the coaching setup. I was like, I would love to see that. You know, when I take my dog for a walk, Sally, like to the park, it's a bit like when I get to the point of releasing her and I take the lead off and she shoots off and these squirrels go running up the trees and pigeons fly away. That would be Jaap Stam basically going over to the defensive sort of, you know, area of that training ground where Harry Maguire is, Victor Lindelof, and I think that'd be absolutely spot on. It really would.
I just had another one. You guys seen that meme of that baby toddling in and then turns around quickly and legs it back the other way? That would be Jesse Lingard running in like that. Other way, go, see you later. But
that would be the cat amongst the pigeons. That would be funny to see that.
Going back to what you said then, Jaap Stam, when I started this show and I said, the different character of the number 2, the enforcer. You will listen, and you will listen to what this man has to say. And that's what he's probably going to need alongside him, that man. And if anybody comes up to Jaap Stam and even questions the man, it's just going to be like, sit back down. Yeah.
It's just like the Dutch Roy Keane, isn't it? It's a way of getting a Roy Keane type figure in there without it actually being Roy Keane. He's a similar kind of makeup.
I feel
exactly
like
what we need.
If you gave them players that straight away, they just won't be able to take it. They might need it easing into him because they've had it so easy for so long. Like imagine.
There's no time anymore. There's no time anymore for them. They're going to have to realise that they are putting the fans through absolute hell.
Well, it's like when I saw today on Instagram, you've got photo bombs going on. Let's all smile for the camera. Like we're absolute crap. Like, why are you smiling for the camera? Get on and work under the radar until you can get back to your best. I don't want to see any smiling for the camera pictures while we're doing absolutely horribly on the pitch. But anyway, that's just my opinion. But it's like Pogba today. Rumours coming out that Manchester United want to still offer him $500,000 a week contracts, want to make him the highest paid player in the Premier League. My personal opinion is, despite the fact I think Pogba is a lot more talented than the likes of Donny van de Beek. Donny van de Beek can fit a system, he's going to listen to the manager, and he's going to work for his other teammates, and he's going to, every time he puts on the shirt, he's going to give his absolute all for the team. I know who I'd rather want. Pogba situation, I mean, I know what response I'm going to get, but $500,000 a week, paid player in the Prem, what are Manchester United thinking with that one?
Yeah, I mean...
Pogba, sorry Adam, Paul Pogba is the biggest charlatan in that club. A charlatan of the highest order, that man. And right now, I can't see the comments, but I'm assuming the Paul Pogba fanboys are losing their minds. They've just blown their minds.
Not many of them in there today, mate.
Donny van de Beek.
Tonight, Jay.
Yeah, after the last day. I played Donny van de Beek and Jimmy Gardner and Ruben Neves in that midfield ahead of Paul Pogba. And Jimmy Gardner is ripping up threes in Nottingham Forest. The same Nottingham Forest that our own Roy Keane played for. I'm not comparing Gardner to Roy Keane, but the context is I play an unproven Jimmy Gardner in that midfield next season over Paul Pogba. I've seen enough of Paul Pogba. I'm Paul Pogba to my tits. I don't want to see that man play for the club again. He's a charlatan.
I'm actually at the point now I feel like Pogba needs to leave this summer for the start of the rebuild to happen. I think he's whether we know what happens behind the scenes or not, apparently he is a leader in there. Apparently he is good in the dressing room, but it's like he's been part of this run of leaks. I'm not saying it's him, but he's been part of the negative run. And I do think all the hype surrounding Pogba, all of the disruption surrounding Pogba when it comes to international breaks, I think he needs to leave with this era of Manchester United, if I'm being honest with you now. He might be the most talented, one of the most talented players in the world, but sometimes you just got to look at it and think it's not worked out and you're going to have to let you go. And I think it is time for him to leave and this project restart. Like, we don't need massive egos in there disrupting his dressing room when a new manager comes in.
Beth, compare it to our proper clubs run, and I hate to say it, but if true in terms of Paul Pogba and that wage, his wage is the whole of Liverpool's front three combined.
That's the thing. It's just ridiculous.
Now, tell me that is right in this world. Liverpool are haggling over 250 to 300k for probably Ballon d'Or nominee, deservedly so, Mo Salah, because they'll stick to they're sticking to their system. Yeah, they'll probably end up giving Mo Salah that money, but the man deserves that money. Manchester United, like I said, all I can see is 500 grand a week for Paul Pogba is like that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer man running across the Stretford end, celebrating him winning absolutely jack shit and leaving us in probably one of the worst situations that the club's ever been in, post Sir Alex Ferguson. That's all that cries out to me. And I'm like, Ten Hag's like that, get me in quick so I can actually say something here before this actually happens. You must be thinking, there's no system player there in Paul Pogba. It's not working. 500 grand a week to me means Paul Pogba, that's it. That's his last deal. He ain't going anywhere. He's stuck at Manchester United for the rest of his career because no one is going to get near that at all. And I'm in total agreement. If we have to lose out on the finances, I'm all for it. We'll make an absolute killing on saving money and could use this as the earmark moment of United changing tact on this wage structure, because when UEFA's new financial rules come in, United will have to change their wage structure to actually spend money, because when their new rules come in and they're being eased in year on year, they'll get less and less and less. Unless you're actually winning and earning money and you're balancing your books properly, you won't be able to spend money in the summer. You'll be restricted. That wage structure at Manchester United, this is the perfect summer. Like everyone on this show has said, clean slate it, cut it off and start it over again, because we're going to get nowhere near everyone else who's moving away from us on the pitch, off the pitch, because what we've done before is just going to keep catching up with us, and it's going to hamper the likes of Ten Hag progressing on the pitch, because the structure above is just not good enough there for any manager. And that, for me, starts this summer. Let Pogba go. Let Lingard go. Cavani's gone. Ronaldo will be gone next year. Save a fortune on wages. Restructure it, and we go again.
Fresh project with players. Fresh project with fresh players. Players that Ten Hag's picked himself, and players that are going to fight for the shirt every week and don't see themselves as in every single year saying they want to move to another club. We need players that want to play for this club, and that's seriously important. And transfers, we are going to need them with the amount of outgoings that are happening. And I don't know about you guys, but every single outgoing we've got, I'm all for. Stinking out the dressing room, taking up wage bills. We'll get out of here. We'll get people in that want to play for Manchester United and want to play under this new project. So, I mean, a little bit of a thing that we'll do before the end of the show. And obviously, everyone in the comments, put in who you would want to bring into the club this summer. Try and keep it realistic. I think we'll go for 3 signings, because that's how many I think we're going to get this summer. And if you're Ten Hag now coming in to Manchester United this summer, thinking about the outgoings we've got, Jesse Lingard, Paul Pogba, Edison Cavani, etc. We all know who's going this summer. What 3 positions and what's 3 players? If you're Ten Hag now, are you putting forward to the Manchester United board for Manchester United to go and get this summer? Kev, we'll start off with you first.
Yeah, nice one for that. Give time for everyone else to have a think. I would like to think that he will he's going to go for players he's obviously trusted in the past. If I can try and go down that route, I think a player like De Ligt would be perfect for Manchester United if Ten Hag could maybe persuade him to leave. And I'm obviously looking for a partner for Varane at the back. I think Harry Maguire has been a major issue for Manchester United. I would like to think in this new regime that we've got a manager that will maybe pick his own captain, or should do in my book, and that Harry Maguire shouldn't be in that first team. I think we need a top-class player to be playing in alongside Varane. Midfield is the big one, and I'm just thinking money-wise. I'm trying to make, instead of saying, "Oh, let's go and get this," I mean, somebody that's actually achievable, somebody that Manchester United could go out and get at a good price, would be somebody like Neves from Wolves. Jordan's mentioned before a Bazuma as well.
Mentioned it before.
Just a couple of times he's mentioned it, and we need to look at a forward, I would say. We're looking at a couple of midfielders. Well, I've just said a couple of midfielders, haven't I, and a defender. So I don't know. It's a difficult one. I would like to say Declan Rice, and then loads of people start abusing Kevin, saying 100 million. He's not even good and all that. And then no, I think I'd stick with maybe a De Ligt, a Ruben Neves. Like I say, wouldn't cost much, and I can't really say.
Forwards out there at the minute, is there?
No, that's the thing. Again, I could throw in Haaland, but I just don't see it being.
Not going to happen.
Haaland's not going to come to Manchester United at this stage, that, and with the agent as well, Raiola, who'd be looking to push him on somewhere else, which is fair enough. We've had our fingers or hands burnt in the past with that agent. I'm just thinking.
Ivan Toney's that one that's been thrown in the mix recently. I don't know how everyone feels about that one. Personally, for me, I'm not 100%. But at the same time, you've got to think about the position that Manchester United is in at the moment, and we're not in Champions League football, and we're on the rise, and he does the basics well, and he's someone that could be coached. So, I mean, you can't, as Manchester United fans, you can't sit back and just think, I want Haaland, I want Mbappe, I want these players, because it's not going to happen. We're not that club anymore. We're not Manchester City. We're not.
Well, Rudiger from Chelsea, I suppose. I was just having a think then as well. That was one that we discussed in a previous show. To think that he's on a free transfer. There's some good free transfers that Manchester United could look at. Doesn't necessarily mean the penny pinching. There are some good players there, isn't there? Is it Kessie as well from AC Milan? There's players out there.
But then you think with Rudiger, is he really gonna downgrade from Chelsea to Manchester United?
Yeah.
Unless it's for the money, which is what we've seen happen before. Jay, 3 signings. I know you've been looking into this quite a lot, so give it to us.
Yeah, and I'm going to go left of field. There's a player at Ajax that nobody talks about. Is Alvarez, plays midfield, quite like him. And as I said, Ten Hag, like system players, like the cog on a wheel. The obvious is the spine of the field that we always go on about centre back, the CDM, the striker. So I play anybody at the back instead of Harry Maguire. I like Kevin's call on De Ligt, but can we get him? Time will tell. The jury's also out on Varane this season. His injury record, I am getting concerned about Varane. He's almost become like a Paul McGrath character where his knees are on ice all week, and then you're hoping that he can play the weekend. So definitely centre back. Ruben Neves obviously pops up. I know Jordan's a massive fan of Bazuma. I would definitely go with Bazuma or Ruben Neves, but this chap Alvarez, you probably get him for 25-30 mil, and no one's talking about him. Up front then, I've gone left of field. I mentioned his name previously in the show. He made Harry Maguire look like a child in school in his first day, lost and forlorn. Duvan Zapata. I know what the fans are going to say. He's 30. Yeah, Zapata. Yeah, I like him. He's an absolute warrior of a player. He's your classic old school centre forward. He would provide us with the work rate. He does track back, and he will play in a system. And we've all agreed, I think the show, was it Sunday or Monday night when we were discussing Ronaldo, we all agreed that Ronaldo does need, I think the phrase used was understudy, but somebody that can rotate in Ronaldo game on game. And I personally wouldn't go for the up-and-coming striker. I would go for a player that I know is going to come in and get me 20 goals. And for me, Duvan Zapata, I'm going on left of field. But again, the Glazers are probably going to throw 150 million at this. So Zapata, Alvarez, or Bazuma plus centre back. There's your 150. Job done. Thank you.
Do you think? So you would go for? I mean, Zapata. You're not going to get many years out of him. Would you wait to invest in a younger striker and initially just get a proven goal scorer straight in? Yeah.
I don't think a young up-and-coming striker is going to come near us right now on a rebuild. Say you're 22, 23, 24. Let's say you're 24. And the last, you grew up seeing this club not win very much, not achieving Champions League, getting to the odd quarter final, not getting knocked to a group stage, losing Europa League. That's what you've seen as a child growing up. So you're 23, 24 as a player right now. Your next big move, if the move you're going to make, that's going to set you up for life. I cannot see an agent telling a young striker of that age to come to United on a rebuild personally. That's what it's personal belief.
It is known as the graveyard shift, our centre forward role, and it has been for many years. I mean, Ronaldo's come in and tried to do a job on lack of service. It is a scary thing for a young player who's trying to build his career coming into 100%. But you've got to kind of think new projects, new manager, but you've got to put a lot of reliance on that to happen. Adam, 3 signings.
Straightforward, and I go Timber, Tuamine, and Lamptey. Forget the striker. Ronaldo's going to be there for another season. Let one of Garnacho or McNeil come through, understudy for him. They'll be there 19 the season after. And we've said 3 years. We're looking for an up-and-coming player. Why don't we use what we've got? And the only thing that we have got that's good this season is our youth system. It's about time that some of these understudies who will come in will listen to Ronaldo. And with us not being in the Champions League, maybe in a bit more time, these competitions that we're going to be in, it's perfect opportunity for these guys to come in and learn from him. And you know what? If they don't, that system will then be in place. And then you can look around and go, which striker exactly suits what we're doing right now when Ronaldo leaves? Because right now we haven't got a clue because Ten Hag's not in. But a season under Ten Hag then gives us next summer to go, right, okay, now we know exactly what striker we need, who is out there. Now we've got a system in place. I love Lamptey. Absolutely think our fullbacks in that area is going to be looked at severely by Ten Hag. He's big on fullbacks. I think he's ideal and the player that we know we can get. Tuamine rather than Rice, saved the money. And Timber, who has worked under Ten Hag, and everyone I've spoke to, and I know I've got friends who are Ajax supporters who go week in, week out. He is absolutely phenomenal this season. Yeah. He has got potential beyond the lip. That's what they're saying. I would go with that. That's a young up-and-coming centre-back who's played every single game for Ten Hag last season alongside Daley Blind. For me, the signal just went. What's on that? But yeah, that would be where I would go. I mean, striker-wise, there's no one out there for me right now.
Nunes is playing in kicking off literally now. He's one that in and around, but a lot of clubs are, and you've got to think, is he going to come without Champions League? And then there's not really many other options. The one question I wanted to quickly ask you on Lamptey, obviously he plays in a back 5 for Brighton, a very attacking right back. I rate him highly. I would love us to bring him to United, but do you think he has the defensive capabilities to work? Especially if you've got Maguire in and around that centre-back pairing still.
So who was that? Sorry, then I missed that.
Lamptey, do you think he has the defensive capabilities to work in a back 4 for Manchester United, considering now he's in a back 5 at Brighton, very defensive, organised team.
But he's moving in. He's moving into a system style which gives fullbacks the license to run forward and provide the majority of assists for their forwards at Ajax. And he has got energy to burn and pace to burn. We are lacking pace so much from our fullback areas. It's scary. But this guy, if Brighton had Lamptey on from the start in that game at Old Trafford, United wouldn't have won 2-0. I can guarantee it. He came on and he scared the living shit out of everyone in that United team, literally in 15-minute cameo. You've got that injury issue, obviously, and we can't really judge on injuries. We've just got to look at what is gettable and what we're going to finish this season. For me, them signings there, and you would get all of them for half of the wage and what Paul Pogba is demanding right now. And then you can save that Go into next summer and get the right man you need if he's there, and offer him the right structured deal. It's simple when you look at it from the outside. It's just you're going to have, like Jay said, the balls to make the calls this summer and get rid of the players that are clogging up this system of youth players getting through this team because how good they are.
Exactly. Imagine Sancho's like technicality with Lamptey's burning pace coming behind. Finally, a fullback for him to link up with. It'd be exciting, but we'll have to wait and see to what happens. I'm sure there'll be a lot more speculation around what transfers Manchester United is going to bring in. I'm sure we'll see some negotiations with Ajax. I definitely think Timber is a shout, and he could be on his way to Old Trafford in the summer. And we'll just have to wait and see what Ten Hag does, and we'll have to wait for the announcement. Everyone in the comments, getting who you want to bring to Manchester United, hit a like on the video, subscribe. Also, we've got Champions League watch-alongs happening on That's Football with Mark. But before we go, we'll say goodbye to everyone. Adam, thanks for coming on tonight, and you'll be on the show. You'll be doing your road trip, won't you, for the weekend and stuff like that?
Yeah, fan forum tomorrow night, everyone. I don't know if we got the presser on Friday, but yeah, it's a long weekend ahead, and then next week's even scarier. But yeah, you'll see me a plenty. Yeah, exactly. Jay, keeping it real, keeping it as true as possibly can. Thank you for coming on the show again today, and hopefully we'll get you on the show soon as well.
Thanks, Ben. It's been good. See you all Saturday for our hopefully 3 points against Norwich, but I wouldn't bank on it.
I'll definitely be looking forward to get your reaction. And Kev, as always, great to have you on. Comments, absolutely love you, and we'll see you on. Are you on the fan forum this Saturday?
I sure am. Can't wait for it. Jeez.
Hopefully it's a positive one for a change. We'll have to wait and see. But anyway, thank you everyone, and we'll see you on the next